So I don't know. It's not really.
I mean, it's like bum ba da da dum bum ba da da da. I mean, it's so loud, and you're just like, you need to scream at the top of your lungs to be heard, anyways. So it just, say it with passion, like you won. You got through that gnarly section. I won. Do you believe that you can do it? I need to hear that you can do it. Can you do it?
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have a routine? How you keep yourself in shape? What do you do daily, or you try to do? Do you play some? I asked Midori if she plays Paganini Caprice. She said no, and she recorded.
That's good to know.
But she said she's doing Bach a lot. She's practicing Bach, and that I can relate to, because I think it's the most challenging thing overall is whatever is written by Bach, especially fugues, and because it really makes you twist all the fingers to work on the voicing, chords, so much coordination.
Yes.
Do you have something also that you can share with us?
Well, I start my day every day with scales. I mean, I just go around the circle of fifths, and it really, if I don't do it, I can't play anything else. It's like making the bed for me. Seriously.
So Yasha Heifetz would be very happy with you, right?
No, well, I mean, his scales were insane. I mean, he would do like 6 and whatever. But I just do a very simple. It's more for my right arm, actually the bow arm, that I'm playing the scales. It's not so much the left that I'm thinking about, because I mix it up with all different kinds of, bow technique, like light, staccato, spiccato, just anything, just make it up.
And of course, arpeggio and double stops and everything, right?
No, double stops, no. I don't even do double stops, no.
Really?
No.
What I find that for me, scales we're playing everywhere, but the double stops is a challenge. The thirds, I think, it's really incredible. Like you said, also not only for the left hand, but for the sound production. And I would, I started recommending to many students to take some of the, even finger octaves, 6 and octaves. It's really, you are an accomplished player. I asked a few really accomplished player in the past if they ever play scales. They say no. So it's not a good example. Somebody who really needs to work on something and improve. Of course, this is a great advice what you just said. The scales, it's our foundation. We can hide in some other pieces, but scale, it will really take something. It's real focus on intonation and good sound and the clarity.
Yes.
You cannot hide from
Yeah.
yourself.
And shifting.
Back in the Soviet time, we had a system when everyone at school from the very early age, and even in the conservatory, we had to play like middle exam, like sometime in middle session in the winter. Everyone would play scale and etudes, scale or caprice later on. No matter how good, I was asked to play scales after I won Paganini competition. There was no excuses, so I still have to go there. So it's great that you're saying that this is something. We have to go through no matter what.
No matter what. It's like really brushing your teeth. So I'm so happy to hear that you feel that it is a dance, because it is. But right now I'm so busy focused kind of on your footwork that I don't see the line, the phrase, the complete picture. I think you're really very careful. You're carefully applying, the color on each note, that it kind of, the overall picture gets lost. And so I would just love to hear, the opening, how far of a phrase is there in that opening? And from, I want to hear point A to point B.
What else in your routine?
Sight reading. Sight reading is so important, and I think it's really overlooked by a lot of people, because it just keeps your mind active, fresh, and you just have to figure things out right on the spot, you
Absolutely.
know? Um, and also playing Mozart. For me, for me, Dory, it's Bach. For me, it's Mozart.
Mozart sonata or
It's
concertos?
both. In the quarantine time, and I went through like a lot of the sonatas and the concertos. I was relooking at the concertos, wondering why the cadenzas are always the same cadenzas, and I had this idea of like, wow, it'd be so fun to ask, uh, this, like a jazz pianist or somebody to have a different idea of the cadenzas and to make it fresh and modern. But there's something so pure and profoundly moving about Mozart's music that is unlike anything else
Oh
for
yeah.
me. Yeah.
It also demands a lot of refine your
Yes.
articulation, not only
Yes.
vibrato. In everything, you're very like you're naked when you play Mozart because you cannot also hide. But it has to be not just a good, proper playing, but you have to find. I think style in Mozart is what articulation you're trying to emphasize. What kind of articulation in the
Yeah.
ball? Because you cannot play as it comes. It always needs to be certain breath and certain
Absolutely.
awareness how we connect. Tiram pam, ta ta tiram ta ta tira ta ta tam. It's just kind of tira dara 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 dira dira dira.
Right.
And actually, I remember it's also great that you mentioned it. I remember also how I struggled first with Mozart. I could play maybe other pieces very well, but in order to play Mozart, the next step was Schubert.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you don't know what to do. I mean, because it's so simple, simple line,
But
and
there's
then
so much poetry. It's
yeah,
it's the most difficult form of, you know, the medium of poetry, and to apply it to music is so difficult and
and it
challenging.
demands a different violinistic approach because you cannot play, something like you play Tchaikovsky and Brahms
Right.
the same way. You have to find a different kind of way to articulate all those strokes and bowings and lots of breath. I
Right.
also find it when I teach somebody who is really good, it's always not always, but most of the time, it's not natural because you have to make it breathe and certain articulation, even for the advanced player, it's
Mm-hmm.
not natural to do this. Then you have to develop that ability to use a bow in different way and
Mm-hmm.
create this finesse in articulation.
Yes, absolutely. Do you know about the story of like when this was premiered?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like the
absolutely.
critic hated it. He said that, you were just like getting beaten black and blue playing this. Yeah. Kind of feels that way, right? Oh my gosh. Have you played this with piano?
No, not yet. It's
Not yet.
I don't
I
feel
think
ready
that,
for it.
yeah, I think that will really push you to a different level
Yeah,
because it will force you to, remember that when you do play this on stage with an orchestra, you will have a conductor and 80 musicians behind you that you have to direct.
yeah,
And, they need your help and they need your wisdom to play, to know what you're thinking also, with your phrasing, because right now I think you're, just it's very improvisatory the way you play. And in the cadenza, that's great, but with everything else, it won't fly.
Thank you for all your great suggestions, and you make. I see a little bit of Miss Delay in you, in the way you asking the question. Do you like to dance? Do you like to
That's
what,
funny.
what do you like to sing? And what is your favorite music? I remember especially with girls, Miss Delay was very caring.
Yeah.
Choosing the dresses and but she was very warm, and it's great that you really inherited that quality as well, because it's always very appealing and very very warm and engaging what you're trying to tell.
Oh, thank you, Dima. This has just been such a wonderful experience, and it's so nice to see you. I would love to talk with you like about music. So
This
you have
is
so many interesting things to say.
it's a
Really.
great opportunity for all of us. I'm really enjoying so much observing and thinking with you, and at the same time trying to see your point of view. And I think it's very beneficial for everyone. We had great numbers of attendees.
Oh,
So
great.
they enjoyed it very much. I think it's a great opportunity for everyone to reconnect, especially this time. We have a wonderful
Absolutely.
cause to have our tribute to Miss DeLay, who was a graduate at the Michigan State University in 1937.
Wow.
So I think she was 20 years old, and I guess she was making some kind of decisions of her life, and perhaps, I mean, it's the best way to give her a tribute. And I'm sure that for everyone who is interested in our craft, students, music lovers, teachers, I think it's incredible to see you and other guest artists. We had Midori, David Kim, Vadim Gluzman, next week Shlomo Mintz, Philippe Quint, and then Masao Kawasaki, who was your teacher
Yeah.
as well. He was my teacher too. He was assistant of Miss DeLay. Very different kind of teaching style, but very honest, very precise. I still remember some of the advices he gave me. I passed it to my students, I was just mentioning. So I'm looking forward to all those classes, and I really, really appreciate your willingness. You were so immediately so enthusiastic about this. Practically everyone was in the same way. It really encouraged me because I wanted to do this for a long time, even before COVID, in the real life. But now I feel that it helps us to be motivated, to feel that it's what we do is really needed. And for students who are really isolated in a way now, it's great chance to give it to have a great advice from people like you and other guest artists, because you say things in your own way, and it's always there's immediate results. So I think I will speak for all students that I'm sure they learned something today that they will treasure and they will remember that.
So you're creating a fantasy world for us to enjoy, and it just needs to be done in a very relaxed, charming, and light way, not hard. So try to not feel so sticky, like with the bow, like that, but out and light. And the music really speaks for itself. It's just such amazing music. So I'm surprised I've never played it. Actually, I learned it, but I never played it until I don't know what happened. But you've inspired me now. So now I would like to play this.
I wanted to ask you before we finish this class, because I know that you're great advocate of contemporary music. I saw that you made couple of recordings, our part recording recently, yes?
Yes.
So when did you realize that it's something you would like to do and something which gives you inspiration, motivation? Maybe you can share it also.
Yeah, I think it came from a very organic place for me, because I've always been very curious and interested sort of in the underdog, and the music that is just undervalued and underplayed. And it started with the Barber Violin Concerto. And back in 1988, I mean, no one was born in your class then, not even close. But it was my mission to record that concerto, and it wasn't performed much. And I performed it with the Bruch Violin Concerto. That was my first recording. And, from there, I would just constantly go to music stores when they existed and look through bins of sheet music stores and Frank Music Company in New York, and go to the library, the Lincoln Center Library, and check LPs out regularly. and listen to unusual music. And this fascinated me on so many levels. And it brought my love and attention to living composers and how their language is all influenced from tradition and from the past and from historical composers. And I just always think, you know, like how incredible would it be if I were actually sitting in front of Rachmaninoff or Chopin or any one of, you know, or Prokofiev or any of these giants, and see them working, you know, in front of me, and begging them to write something for the violin, you know. And I find that it's really fascinating because so many of the composers, I'm thinking, you know, they won't have time or they're just not interested in writing something. But I ask them and I always can get a no. But most of the time it's, wow, I've been wanting to write this and I'm so glad you asked me. So I'm just like, it's just,
It's wonderful. I mean, it's interesting because you mentioned Barber Concerto, which I love, and I play quite a lot. Surprisingly, when I came first time, I think, or second time to United States in the late 80s, I remember I came to every Fisher Hall with my father to hear Elma Oliveira played, and it was Barber Concerto. I never heard that concerto before. No one played it. Maybe somebody played, but I never heard it back in Soviet time. And I was so surprised. It was completely out of repertoire. And a few years ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago, I went back to St. Petersburg and I played it. And I think orchestra didn't really know the piece so much.
yes.
And the same happens with John Coriolano, many composers. But I think it's important to let our audience, our students, to know that there's so many ways besides, of course, we have to learn. Not have to, but it's Tchaikovsky, Brahms, it's our culture, it's our history.
Right.
But what you do, sometimes even commissioning pieces from fellow composers, it really helps this new generation of composers to find their language. I'm sure there's something they can something find because time is changing, and music doesn't have to be, you know, very intellectual. There's many ways to express this in the classical form, and I'm glad that you. I mean, I noticed that you know, spend so much time and effort to promoting these pieces, and it's a great music, wonderful composers, and it's not every musician is doing this. So I really salute you for this. So and it was real treat for me, for students, for great numbers of attendees. Hopefully we'll meet in person soon. Hopefully we'll do another class this way, or of course in live, because we have so many things to talk about, to discuss, and I just hope, and I'm sure it will be interesting to see and to hear our discussions, and perhaps ask questions. And so before I let you go, I just want to thank Lisa Wilton, who is behind the scenes. She's been helping with all those broadcasts. She's a director of special events at MSU, and she's been really great help. We've been dealing with some technical issues today. I think it was the most smoothest spot. Still few things we have to figure out, but every time it gets better and better and better. And I wish you, you know, great time in Los Angeles, and hopefully we'll meet together soon. And until the next time.
Lots of love to you, Dima.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you everyone who attended, and I want to tell all the attendees that if they have questions, they will get follow-up email, so they always can ask something, suggest something. I would like to open this for in the future master classes to open for outside students from MSU. Perhaps they can try to perform, because this is advantage we can have out of this Zoom technology. Anyone can be in a different part of the world. So I would like to encourage people to send their recordings to me. Perhaps I can choose a couple of interesting students and try to arrange it for the future master classes. And we will have continuation next year. So maybe you'll come either in person or this way. We'll look forward to this.